The movie The Iron Claw aims to tell the story of a family of wrestlers dealing with very real tragedy. Every major character in the film is based on a real person, so how do the actors match up to the grapplers they play? Kevin Von Erich is the eldest of the Von Erich siblings and the only surviving member of the family. At one time, Kevin was a budding football prospect at North Texas State University before giving up the gridiron for the family business in the squared circle. Kevin would go on to team with his brothers in an iconic feud against the Fabulous Freebirds, while also reaching singles success in feuds against Ric Flair and Chris Adams. With numerous championships in NWA and WCCW, the Golden Warrior was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2009 with the rest of his family before officially retiring from in-ring competition in 2017. The lead role of Kevin will be portrayed by Zac Efron, who burst onto the scene in 2006 with the lead role in Disney's incredibly popular High School Musical franchise as Troy Bolton, the captain of the basketball team and a promising young singer to match. Efron has gone on to star in a number of dramas and comedies, including The Lucky One, Neighbors, and Baywatch, with the latter putting him alongside WWE legend Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. In more recent years, Efron has starred as serial killer Ted Bundy in Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, as well as working on a number of indie projects. Efron underwent an incredible physical transformation for his role in The Iron Claw, adding on plenty of muscle mass and rocking an 80s-era hairstyle.
Mom tried to protect us with God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling.
Kerry Von Erich was the only brother to claim the NWA World Heavyweight title, capturing the gold from Ric Flair in front of a raucous crowd at Texas Stadium in 1984. While his reign lasted less than a month, it was a clear highlight for the family, and it wouldn't be the last time Kerry would become a singles champion. In the early 1990s, he jumped to the WWF as the Texas Tornado and gained the Intercontinental Championship. He'd square off with the likes of The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, as well as competing on the undercard at WrestleMania 7. Kerry took his own life in 1993 at the age of 33, leaving behind 2 children. Playing the part of Kerry will be Jeremy Allen White, who has carved out a tremendous career to date and, at just 32, is certainly an actor on the rise. His performance in the role of Carmen Berzatto in the Hulu series The Bear earned him a 2023 Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Television Series, Musical or Comedy. The New York native also played Lip Gallagher on the hit Showtime series Shameless. Perhaps surprisingly, The Iron Claw will be his first major role in a motion picture. White's casting was announced in September 2022. The third eldest of the Von Erich siblings, David fell agonizingly short of the coveted NWA World Heavyweight title during his career. He lost numerous nail-biters with the likes of Ric Flair and Harley Race over the years. Away from singles competition, the Yellow Rose of Texas would team with his brothers, Kevin and Kerry, in their iconic feud with the Fabulous Freebirds throughout the 1980s, as well as working in Missouri. David passed away at the age of just 25 in February 1984 during a tour of Japan. Many of his peers, including Flair and Mick Foley, claim it was due to a drug overdose, despite the coroner's report indicating he suffered from acute enteritis. Stepping into his shoes for the film will be rising English actor Harris Dickinson, who at 27 years old has already had supporting roles in a number of feature films, including Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, The King's Man, and Where the Crawdads Sing. His role in The Iron Claw will be his most prominent to date. Dickinson first earned fame in 2017, winning the Independent Spirit Award for Best Male Lead in the drama film Beach Rats, and is also slated to appear in Steve McQueen's upcoming film Blitz. The patriarch of the Von Erich clan was born as Jack Adkisson in 1929 in Texas. He was trained by the legendary Stu Hart, adopting the name Fritz Von Erich when joining up with his tag team partner Waldo Von Erich. Over his many decades in the ring, he claimed the AWA World Heavyweight title on one occasion and became a long-term fixture for the NWA and WCCW, eventually taking over the latter territory as promoter. The Iron Claw was both Fritz's nickname and the name of his finishing move. Fritz also played a major part in the Japanese professional wrestling scene, both as an active competitor and administrator. Fritz passed away in September 1997 after a battle with lung cancer. Taking on the role of Fritz will be Holt McCallany, who first earned acclaim for his part in the 1999 film Fight Club alongside Brad Pitt and Edward Norton. In more recent years, the actor was in Wrath of Man starring Jason Statham and had a key role on Netflix's Mindhunter. McCallany is also slated to appear in the next installment of the Mission Impossible franchise, which is expected to be released in 2025.
You feel that? That's pressure.
Lance Von Erich isn't actually a member of the family. Real name William Vaughn, he was a Dallas-born wrestler who sporadically worked alongside the rest of the Von Erichs throughout the 1980s, billed as the son of Waldo, who had also no biological relation to the Adkissons. While he never reached the heights of his family in the wrestling business, Lance, who is still alive, became a successful real estate agent and bodybuilder outside of it. The man who will portray Lance has seen a lot of wrestling success, though. Simply put, he's better than you, and you know it. Yes, he's the reigning and defending AEW World Champion, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's been etching his name into the history books with victories over the likes of Chris Jericho, CM Punk, and Bryan Danielson over the past few years. The 27-year-old makes his motion picture debut in The Iron Claw and has made no secret of his desire to move into show business once his time as an active competitor comes to an end. He has already dipped his toes into that world with a guest appearance on Impractical Jokers in March 2023. Ric Flair is regarded by many as the greatest wrestler of all time. After starting out in Jim Crockett Promotions and other NWA territories in the mid-1970s, the Nature Boy captured gold all across the globe and is the recognized leader of world title reigns with 16 throughout his career, tied with John Cena. Flair had countless battles with the Von Erichs, including dropping the NWA world title to Kerry in March 1984. Flair has been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame twice and, to this day, remains a pop culture icon that has transcended pro wrestling. Playing the role of Flair will be a little-known star in Hollywood circles, Aaron Dean Eisenberg, who has built a niche reputation for his physical, vocal, and aesthetic versatility from his time working on television series including The Deuce and Public Morals. While it will be the first major motion picture for the 37-year-old, the Iron Claw could present Eisenberg the opportunity to recreate some iconic moments from the peak years of Flair's career. One of the most respected figures in pro wrestling history, Harley Race rose to prominence in the 1970s working in the NWA, where he won the top prize on 7 occasions. Race had legendary tussles inside the squared circle with the likes of Terry Funk, Ric Flair, and Dusty Rhodes, cementing himself as a tough-as-nails ring general. Race had plenty of encounters with the Von Erich family, squaring off against Kerry, Kevin, and David in singles competition across the 1980s. The WWE Hall of Famer passed away in 2019 after a battle with lung cancer, leaving an indelible mark on the industry and inspiring a host of stars, including Paul Triple H Levesque. Stepping into the role of Race will be method acting specialist Kevin Anton, who broke into show business via the New York theater scene after studying at the famous Lee Strasberg Theater Institute. The 36-year-old has worked on a number of film and television projects, including roles in Gotham and Dead Ringers, but will have his first major spot in a motion picture production for The Iron Claw. Anton's look and demeanor will undoubtedly fit that of Race. Standing at 6'8" and weighing 300 pounds, Bruiser Brody was one of the most frightening performers in the history of pro wrestling. Throughout his time in the ring, Brody wrestled the Von Erichs on numerous occasions and was trained by Fritz Von Erich before stepping into the ring and earning a spot across the globe. The beastly athlete worked across the United States, Japan, and elsewhere throughout the 1970s and 1980s before being stabbed to death in the locker room during a show in Puerto Rico at the age of 42. Brody's hardcore brawling style paved the way for many performers that followed him, and he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2019. In The Iron Claw, Brody will be portrayed by Cazzey Cereghino, who is perhaps best known for his numerous Super Bowl advertisements.
Is that my wedding dress?
It could be.
The 44-year-old Oregon native has also appeared on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Lethal Weapon, as well as in small roles on Shameless and Grimm. With an imposing stature and a large personality, Cereghino will be tasked with playing one of the most intimidating wrestlers of all time, but he has the perfect look for it. With his brash, loudmouth character, Michael P.S. Hayes is best known for his time as the leader of the Fabulous Freebirds, the major rivals of the Von Erich family throughout the 1980s. Hayes and his partners Buddy Roberts, Terry Gordy, and Jimmy Garvin rose to prominence working in WCCW, NWA, and WCW, while he also won multiple singles titles during his in-ring career. Since retiring from active competition, Hayes was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame alongside his Freebird stablemates in 2016. He served as on-screen interviewer and host Doc Hendricks in the WWE in the mid-90s, and he's been a backstage producer and creative team member for the company since 1999. Hayes will be played by fellow professional wrestler Brady Pierce, who has worked on the U.S. independent scene for the past decade, as well as competing on multiple episodes of AEW Dark in 2020. This will be the first acting role for the 32-year-old. Not to be confused with the Iron Sheik, the performer known as just the Sheik began his wrestling journey in the 1940s, before earning accolades working for Vince McMahon Sr.'s WWF throughout the 1960s and 1970s. Sheik, real name Eddie Farhat, worked with Fritz Von Erich in pioneering the hardcore style. He was one of the great box office attractions of his time, before moving into a booker role after retiring from active competition. Farhat was also the uncle of ECW legend Sabu, who carried on the family legacy throughout the 1990s and 2000s. The Sheik passed away in 2003 at the age of 76. The role of the Sheik will be portrayed by Chavo Guerrero Jr., a member of another legendary wrestling family. The 53-year-old has carved out a lengthy career in the business over the past 4 decades, working for WCW in the mid and late 1990s before signing with WWE and working for the sports entertainment juggernaut for a decade, winning championships as a singles wrestler and in tag team action alongside his late uncle, Eddie Guerrero. Guerrero has worked for numerous other promotions, including TNA and Lucha Underground, while also having a minor role in the sitcom Young Rock. A stalwart of the WCCW scene in Texas during the 1970s and 1980s, Gino Hernandez worked against the Von Erich family in both singles and tag team competition. In 1986, at the age of 28, Hernandez died, with initial reports indicating it to be a homicide. The final autopsy determined it was due to a cocaine overdose. Those close to Hernandez at the time have remained skeptical regarding his cause of death, with Michael Hayes claiming in a 2016 interview on Legends with JBL that foul play may have been involved. Hayes said, "I have a real hard time believing that Gino Hernandez OD'd. He was most definitely hanging with the wrong crowd and either ran his mouth too much or knew too much, or all of the above." In the minor role of Hernandez will be a man with whom AEW fans will be very familiar, Ryan Nemeth, who has worked for the company since 2021 after a brief stint in WWE's developmental system. The younger brother of former WWE World Champion Dolph Ziggler, the self-proclaimed Hollywood hunk, has also spent time working as a comedian while appearing frequently in the popular Being the Elite series on YouTube.